So, guys, we just reviewed some of the comments, and it seems there's mixed opinions in the comments section. Some of the people are saying Opie should have made it work with her ex-husband because it was just a disaster that pulled them apart, but it seemed like she didn't want to give it a chance. But other commenters were like, oh no, she doesn't need to give this a chance. She doesn't feel comfortable with him anymore because of all the stuff that happened. I can't say I blame her, but I do want to know how you guys feel about it. So, drop down below in the comments section what exactly you're thinking. I'd love to hear you guys talk about the stories. Tell me what you would have done. I narrate stories like this every single day, and if you want to be a part of the next story, all you have to do is subscribe because I drop videos on the daily. Have a great day, guys. I'll see you tomorrow, and of course, remember, it's to be kind, a peace. Hey, guys, I never thought I would write a post on this platform someday, but here we are. It's kind of a roller coaster in my mind. I can't help but feel like I'm stuck in the middle of a storm. I just thought the same outside perspective might help. Well, long story short, my brother-in-law has feelings for me, and he's causing a lot of trouble for me. The situation's really complicated right now, and for context, I'm working as a graphic designer at a small creative agency. It's not glamorous, but it pays the bills and lets me flex my creative muscles. Plus, I've got a great team of coworkers who make the daily grind a little more bearable. However, with that said, I don't have a lot of money or free time. Anyone who has experience working in a startup environment would probably be able to relate. I'm not saying I'm not grateful. I just want to explain why sometimes I feel like I have to depend on my husband to have the lifestyle that I'm having right now. And I don't think that's inherently bad, but it does make things a lot worse when there's trouble. Before getting into anything, I must just make myself clear that I'm happily married to my husband, Sam. We tied the knot just a few months ago, and after dating for 3 years, Sam is the love of my life, my absolute partner in crime, and the person I can always count on to make me laugh, guys, even on the toughest days. But here's where things get a bit complicated, right? Sam's older brother, let's call him Jake, has always been a bit of a wild card. He's in his early 30s with a well-paying job at a tech startup, but his personality leaves much to be desired, to say the least. Jake's got the air of entitlement and manipulation that's hard to ignore. Now, I'm firm with my opinions about Jake because Jake and I used to be close friends back in college. We shared the same friend group and spent countless nights studying together, but as time went on, our friendship simply fizzled out, and Jake's true colors started to show. Now, he has always been sort of a social flirt. I don't know how to describe it, but he came across as overly affectionate sometimes, and he left a lot of girls thinking that he's into them. I guess he's really not, though. We all knew that and sort of accepted it about him. So when he told me that he had feelings for me during our senior year, I didn't believe him. I wasn't attracted to him, anyway, so it was not like anything was going to be different. Our friendship started to really fall apart after that. He became increasingly self-centered and had a knack for stirring up drama wherever he went. For example, he would make jokes about how often I led men on, even though I wasn't even casually seeing anyone at the time. Needless to say, I've kept my distance from him ever since. I met Sam much later in life, about 3 years after that. We happened to go to the same gym and got to talking. I didn't even know that Jake was Sam's brother until we were a year or so into a committed relationship. So you can tell it was a bit awkward, but I thought that we were all adults and had moved on from what happened years ago in college. We don't see each other a lot either, and Sam and I live together in a different city, while Jake lives close to their parents. Jake also goes on business trips abroad a lot, so realistically, Jake and I would only meet a few times a year during the holidays. Now, onto the curveball life has thrown my way, our dream honeymoon to Bali. For as long as I can remember, I've been dreaming of visiting Asia, and Bali seems like the perfect destination to kick off our new life together. Sam and I have been planning this trip for months, poring over travel guides and daydreaming about lazy days on the beach and exploring vibrant markets. But just when I thought everything was falling into place, Jake decided to throw a wrench in our plans. Out of the blue, he announces to me that he wants to join us on our honeymoon. Well, my initial reaction was panic. I mean, who in their right mind invites themselves on someone else's honeymoon? Then I thought maybe it was just a joke he was trying to pull to freak me out. And I honestly don't know what he was thinking. Naturally, I politely declined Jake's offer, hoping that he would take the hint and move on. But I was wrong. He called me one night asking me to come out and meet him. Mind you, it was 2 a.m. or something, and Sam was asleep. It felt absolutely inappropriate, but he said that he would spill my darkest secret to Sam if I didn't come down to see him. And at that moment, I knew exactly what he was going to say. I went down, and he asked me to let him tag along in secrecy. If not, he's going to let Sam know all about how I got rid of my baby. I don't know if this is going to be off-putting for anyone, so I'm sorry in advance. It's a part of my past that I've worked hard to bury, a decision made in a moment of fear and uncertainty back in my sophomore year of college. I was in a very toxic relationship with a guy who turned out to be anything but a good partner. We were only going out for 4 months or so when I found out I was pregnant. I was terrified, and the guy took off as soon as he heard. He literally dropped out and was nowhere to be found. I still don't know where he's at to this day, and I didn't know what to do or who to turn to. So, I made the gut-wrenching decision to end the pregnancy. It's not something I'm proud of, but it's what I felt was best for me and the baby at the time. I was in no condition to be a mom, and I didn't want to make a child feel unwanted. I knew I didn't want a child, anyway. So, again, I'm sorry if that makes anyone mad. Anyways, I've realized that Jake is using it as leverage to manipulate his way onto the honeymoon. I don't know why he suddenly decided to take things this far. The thought of Sam finding out fills me with dread. He's always been more on the conservative side when it comes to certain issues, and I can't help but fear how he'll react when he learns the truth about my past. I mean, don't get me wrong, I've tried to talk to him about it multiple times. I've started a lot of conversations around relevant issues, like, rights for women or childcare, or the lack of healthcare, etc. Nothing seems to open his mind to the idea that in certain circumstances, getting what I did done may be a better choice. So, I've kept that a secret for years now, and I don't know if I can ever get to telling him. Here I am, caught between a rock and a hard place. They say, do I cave into Jake's demands and risk destroying our honeymoon, or do I stand my ground and face the consequences of keeping this secret from Sam? This has been keeping me up at night, and I'm not really sure how much longer I can keep up this charade. I'm really confused right now, and this is what's brought me here. I just feel like I'd explode if I kept this all inside me for any longer. That's why I needed to share this with someone, and I didn't particularly have someone in my life to whom I could talk about this with. I could actually use an outsider's opinion on the whole thing. So, guys, share your advice and suggestions as to what exactly I should do. Comment number 1 from the first update states, what is up with this problematic Jake? Who the hell in their right mind would want to accompany a couple on their honeymoon? He clearly has questionable motives, and it makes me question what kind of relationship he has with his brother. Why would a decent man feel comfortable about talking in secrecy with his sister-in-law at 2 in the morning? I mean, you must at all costs stay away from that man. Comment number 2 says, OP, regardless of whatever you're going through with Jake, you're in the wrong for not telling your husband about what you did. You know what a big deal it is for him, and you know he does not support it. You know all these things, and you still decided to hide the story from him. And if he truly loves you, he'll learn to forgive you. Tell him. Update number 1. Don't forget to subscribe. Hey everyone, I know. It's actually been a few days since my last update. Thank you for leaving the comments. I haven't read all of them because there are too many, and I really didn't expect so many people to care about my story. So, for that, I want to send my sincere thanks. I'll have to start by saying that I did not follow your advice, and I'm dealing with the consequences of that decision. So, I agreed to let Jake go out with us in secrecy. I told him that if he was just curious about Bali, he could go, but this is the last thing that I would do for him. Plus, Sam must not know that he's there again. I'll admit that this is a terrible decision. I can't believe that I let some man convince me to hide something from my hubby. I was rushed, I was scared, and I went with the first thing that popped into my mind. Jake was pushing hard, and he got what he asked for. I don't know how to get the information about our hotel. I never told him that we were even going to Bali, and somehow he still knew. He got all the information he needed even before talking to me, and all he wanted from me was a yes or a no approval. But I still didn't understand why he went so far as to get me to say, fine, you can go. I found out soon enough, though. Oh boy, you would think it could not get any worse, but it does. On the night of our arrival, Jake texted me to lure me out of our room in the middle of the night. When I received the message, I was in the bathroom and Sam was waiting for me, so I didn't want to go outside. But then Jake kept calling. He said all he wanted was to see me. He was questionably affectionate at this point, as if he was confessing his feelings for me or something. He said that he would just take one look and then he would leave me alone for the rest of the night, or else he would keep calling until I picked up the phone. I was terrified that Sam might find out, so I caved. I agreed to see him for 3 minutes only. I made up some stupid reason to tell Sam and then went out to the hallway to Jake's floor. When I got there, he was waiting for me, looking extremely satisfied. I should have known things were about to go really, really weird. I didn't know that Jake had also texted Sam, pretending to mistake his number for mine. So when Sam heard my lame excuses, he sort of connected the dots. He asked the receptionist if Jake had a room here, and I guess the woman felt bad for him, having a cheating wife. So she let Sam know of Jake's floor number. Of course, I only found out about this much later. And when I was at the scene, my mind was just blank. I remember seeing Sam walking up to Jake and me, looking absolutely heartbroken. He grabbed Jake's collar, screaming, "How could you do this to me?" repeatedly. He didn't even look at me, and I was trying to explain, but the words that came out of my mouth did not even make a lick of sense. There was no way to explain the situation without mentioning the fact that I got rid of my baby, but I didn't have the courage. I didn't have it. I didn't have it, just to say right then and there. The hotel staff came to get involved, and Jake showed Sam's phone. There was even a short recording of me and Jake meeting at 2 a.m. at my building, where I said yes to having Jake on the honeymoon. Of course, the part where I tried to say no was edited out. Jake fabricated this whole story about us having an affair, saying how deeply in love he is with me. Sam bought it and said he was going to file for an annulment. He packed up his bags and left that exact same evening. I didn't have enough money to sustain myself to fly back, so Jake said that I could stay with him. He purposefully booked a room with 2 beds because he wanted to accommodate me. I knew it was just another trap. He knew exactly what he was doing, putting me in a position where I could not say no. But all I could think of was how much Sam was struggling, so I decided to buy a ticket home using my company credit card. I know, terrible idea, but I honestly could not think of any other solution. I couldn't stay with Jake in the same room right after what happened. If I did, my marriage would be over for real. As soon as I got back home, Sam had already moved out. He didn't even take his belongings, and I think he just upped and left with a bit of luggage, the same amount he packed for the honeymoon. Now, Sam is not picking up the phone, and neither are his parents. I'm freaking out very bad right now. Should I just show up at their doorstep? He's probably there at his parents'. I wanted to tell him the truth, but he would not speak to me. I honestly don't know what to do right now. Update number 2. Hey everybody, so, guess what? It's been about 2 weeks, 2 long weeks, since we flew back from the honeymoon trip. I've had a lot of time alone to reflect on everything and gain some clarity. First of all, this is not Jake's first problematic behavior. I realized that he's always had an issue with respecting others' boundaries. He did say that he had genuine feelings for me, and I simply ignored him because I didn't think it was a big deal. Now that I think about it, it's probably the fact that I ignored his proposal and never got back to him about how I felt that triggered him in the worst way. When Sam took me to his home to meet his family, Jake seemed calm and collected at first. But there were instances that made me question whether or not he was truly happy for us. There's probably not enough space here to go into detail, but I will just tell you about the most recent problematic events. It was during our wedding ceremony when the wedding officiant asked if anybody objected. Jake tried to raise his hand, but he did it in a very playful, hilarious way, like he's a cartoon character messing with a friend or something. He's a very charming person to strangers and coworkers alike, and everybody was laughing and saying how funny the groom's brother was. It's only people who knew him for a very long time, like us, that actually had a problem with him. It felt weird, but at the same time, Sam and I decided to brush it off. That's to say, all of you were right. I should have never have kept that secret from the love of my life. I have no good reason to believe that Jake would let it go if I granted him one more wish. The real reason why I said yes to Jake was because I could not tell Sam the truth. So, I came up with lie after lie just to cover the one that I was already telling. I literally dug the hole for myself. Anyways, since Sam and his family are not picking up the phone, I drafted a very long message to explain everything in great detail. I basically started with my baby and explained my weird friendship with Jake and asked for forgiveness. I said that I would try to accept the fact that my husband still wants to leave me after this explanation, but what's more important to me now is to come clean about what really went down. I even sent them to all the emails, they have the chats, all the messengers, and every other thing. Well, in the hopes that they'll somehow support me. I was desperate. I didn't know what else to do. And during this whole fiasco, I blocked Jake's number to try to maintain some distance from him. I'm thinking about filing a lawsuit if he takes it further. I'm already talking to some of my friends and asking them to connect me with some lawyers that I can trust. I don't have a lot of funding for this, and I know this needs to stop. I can't keep feeding into Jake's tactics any longer after realizing what a troublemaker, psychopath, narcissist that he truly is. About my marriage with Sam, you can't understand how upset I am about what I've done. I'm filled with regret every passing day, and I wish I then didn't lie to them. It took me a long time to come to terms with what happened, and I can't believe that this is going to be costing me my marriage. But I guess it is what it is. I did what I did, and now I have to face the consequences. Update number 3. Hey guys, I'm back for another one. Things have gotten a bit more complicated over the past few months. I'm sorry that I did not write an update earlier. It's just that a lot is going on. Long story short, Sam is at his parents', and they don't believe me. They didn't even talk to me directly. All of our communication, unfortunately, has been through Jake. So this is what Jake has told me. They support my relationship with him, but I'd have to sign the divorce papers, and we would have to move away to create some space for Sam to heal. There were some problems with the paperwork, so an email is not going to work, and Sam is asking for a divorce. I don't know what Jake told Sam and his family about us, but apparently, they think we're official or something. Of course, I retaliated, telling Jake to stop this craziness and leave me the hell alone. That's when he started to behave very, very, very creepy. He laughed and said that even when I came clean about the baby, the trust that my husband and I had built was absolutely nothing more than shattered. So I have nothing on him now. He has no reason to hold back anymore because Sam himself gave up on me. I couldn't fully cut contact with him because he's the only point of contact that I have with Sam and his parents. And I'm still holding my breath and hoping that they're going to rethink their decision or at least express doubts about Jake's version of the story. Still, I really need some distance from Jake. I've moved out of the apartment that Sam and I once shared. Jake ended up renting a place close by, and he would show up at my door almost every day. He kept acting like we were together, doing things that only boyfriends do. He would buy flowers for me. He would try to get inside and ask to spend the night, and he went as far as telling my neighbors to help him, quote, take care of me when he was away on business trips. It's simply unbearable. So I filed a lawsuit and requested a restraining order against him. Now, here's where it gets even more complicated. It felt like I dug an even bigger hole for myself. We all know Jake has deep pockets, and now he's hired top-notch lawyers. He has articles in newspapers writing about these lawyers with an impossible win rate, hand-delivered to my door. He's literally saying that I have no choice but to withdraw the lawsuit and comply, or else things are not going to end very well. Here's what I think I need to do. There's no way in hell I'm considering him as a potential partner, not before this mess and definitely not after. Just when I thought I didn't have any other option but to burn through the savings of my money, Jake stepped up with an offer. Now, I know this sounds absolutely bonkers, but it's what he wants me to do. Marry him, and he'll drop the case. I have absolutely no intention of building a life with this man, but this might be an easy way out, so that I can deal with all my other problems. I'm just not sure what I should do. Updates number 4. All right, things have changed so fast in the past few days, but I think I found a way out of this. So, first, I basically asked Jake to hold off on his proposal so that I could think things through. I stalled because I didn't know what else to do. Thank goodness, something happened and completely changed the game. Sam reached out to me, and it was unexpected, but it happened right when I needed it the most. Basically, he went back to our old apartment to grab his belongings, and he happened to talk to a neighbor who witnessed my conversation with Jake. The guy is 70 years of age, so he wakes up easily from any strange noise. He said that I continuously said no to a guy whose loud voice woke him up from his sleep. This sort of shifted his whole perspective on everything. So he called me and asked to meet me. And we went out to town to make sure Jake did not know that we were seeing each other. Meeting Sam again, it was really hard. He looked so thin, like he's been losing weight nonstop ever since we parted ways. I still can't believe that the last time I saw him was during what was supposed to be our honeymoon. I had to hold back my tears the whole time, and I could tell that it was really challenging for him to keep calm. To my surprise, Sam apologized for having acted so wholly when he pieced everything together. He realized that there were many holes in the stories that Jake told him. Plus, Jake has been problematic since day one. He was actually adopted and is always jealous of his brother, Sam. Sam's parents have been trying for a very long time but didn't manage to conceive. So they adopted Jake and said, the heck with it. But just a year later, they were pregnant with Sam. So, I guess Jake always had this strange feeling of being competition with his own brother. Sam even told me a very disturbing story from when Sam and his brother were in elementary school. Are you ready for this? When the family brought Sam to the beach for the first time, he was excited. Jake, on the other hand, was upset the whole trip. He would ask for snacks that Sam liked and complain about how there was less space in the car now. When it was time for them to go swimming, Jake did something horrible. He was trying to drown Sam. He held Sam underwater for almost a whole minute, according to blurry camera footage. Fortunately, Sam's dad discovered them just in the nick of time to get Sam out of danger. Sam magically survived, and from then on, his parents paid for Jake's intensive therapy sessions in the hope of solving his sociopathic tendencies. Sam told me that they even have a clause in their will. They'll take away all of Jake's inheritance if he ever displays that kind of behavior again. After talking to Sam, I knew exactly what to do about Jake. Of course, I don't know where Sam and I will go from here. I mean, we parted without even being able to resolve anything about our relationship with lingering feelings. I think I'll pretend to marry Jake. I just need to get enough evidence for a case, and then we can all move on from this. I'm so tired. Final updates. Hey everyone. I'm sorry for taking a few months before writing an update. This is going to be the last one, so it might be kind of long. I'll try to wrap everything up, and at least what I can do for you guys is that you have been here to support me the whole time. So, I did go through with my plan. I asked Jake to come meet with me at my house and asked him to come clean about everything that he has ever done, from tricking girls ever since we were in college to having his eyes set on me since day one. He refused at first, telling me how uncomfortable I was making him, but I told him that I could not marry someone if I didn't know if he really wanted me. He had to be honest with me. He ended up admitting to a lot of disturbing things, and he even told me that he used to bribe my roommate so she would open up the door for him and he would look at me when I slept. He also talked about how long it took him to cook up the perfect plan to steal me away from his own brother. He said that it was destiny that brought me back to his life again, and his brother Sam was just the final chapter of a challenge before he could prove himself worthy. It was all extremely unsettling. We ended the conversation around 3 o'clock in the morning, and I asked him to go home. I told him that I would pack my stuff and move to his place first thing in the morning. In fact, I was packing to move as far away from him as possible. Guys, I submitted new proof to the court. Sam helped me out by finding the camera footage of Jake trying to drown his brother, and Jake's therapist has also requested to testify. It was a big mess, and I feel extremely sorry for Sam's parents, as they were heartbroken to watch their son just spiral. But there's nothing else I can do. Jake was threatening my life and peace, and it was just taking me 2 steps back. So, guys, I won the case. Jake was sent to a mental institute, and we went through multiple assessments, which included that he should be kept in confinement for at least a few years. He also lost the share of the inheritance, according to the will. I was compensated with an amount of $300,000, and that was enough for me to invest in a master's degree. I'm starting school this fall, and I'm pretty excited about it. I'm moving to another state, and I'm ready to start anew. You might have guessed by now that Sam and I are divorced. Yeah, the feelings are still there, but we couldn't move past the pain. Sam was still hurt that I hid my baby from him after all these years, and well, I couldn't shake off the fact that Sam and his parents chose to side with Jake, even though they knew he had such disturbing tendencies. Well, anyways, they were all extremely avoidant people, and I knew that they didn't fit into my life anymore. I guess that's all there is to update you on. Thank you so much again for your advice, and I sincerely wish you all the best. Top comments. Comment number 1 says, I'm so glad that OP's not getting back together with Sam. They both made some mistakes, but it sounded like they were not compatible sometimes. Even when you're really caring about someone, you shouldn't end up with them. The marriage literally just fell apart at the first big test, so I'd be worried if they ended up canceling the divorce. Comment number 2 says, I'm still mad that Opie hid her baby from her husband. I also don't like the fact that she treated that mistake with the same level of seriousness as Sam's response when he found out his wife might be cheating. They're completely different things. She could maybe find it in her heart to forgive Sam, but if I were him, I would never forgive her. Yet, she kept talking like she was the one who left. So, guys, we just reviewed some of the comments, and it seems there's mixed opinions in the comments section. Some of the people are saying Opie should have made it work with her ex-husband because it was just a disaster that pulled them apart, but it seemed like she didn't want to give it a chance. However, other commenters were like, oh no, she doesn't need to give this a chance. She doesn't feel comfortable with him anymore because of all the stuff that happened. I can't say I blame her, but I do want to know how you guys feel about it. So drop down below in the comments section what exactly you're thinking. I'd love to hear you guys talk about this. Stories tell me what you would have done. So make sure you comment down below, guys.